Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Lights Out podcast. We are back. It's time to have another interesting conversation here as nothing short of controversy has transpired in the most recent Ring Magazine event, Glory and Giza, that took place less than 48 hours ago. The main event saw the heavyweight champion of boxing take on the heavyweight champion of kickboxing with the lineal championship on the line. Now, to explain the lineal championship for those who don't know, I'm sure most of you know, but just for the one or two people, the vast minority who listen to the show and don't know what the lineal championship is, it is the guy who beat the guy, right? So it's an account of all of the heavyweight champions of boxing that have beaten the previous dominant force, right? It was Tyson Fury just a couple years ago until Alexander Usyk beat him twice, and now Alexander Usyk is the guy who beat the guy. That's the lineal champion, taking on the kickboxing heavyweight champion of the world in this main event at the Pyramids of Giza. And ultimately, what we saw the lineal champion of boxing, Alexander Usyk, struggle, damn near lose the fight. He didn't lose the fight. Ultimately, at the end of the day, he won the fight. But we will say that TKO was very questionable, to say the least. All right, Alexander Usyk escaping Rico Verhoeven with some help. Let's be real. And this is interesting because here we were watching this fight, watching Rico Verhoeven absolutely dominate Usyk. I think Usyk won 12 rounds out of the first, I mean, not 12, 2 rounds out of the first 10, with Rico Verhoeven, if I'm not mistaken, having 8 of the first 10 rounds won. Then comes the 11th round where Usyk is able to drop Rico Verhoeven, the kickboxing champion of the kickboxing heavyweight champion. And after this comes the questionable TKO itself, where we see Alexander Usyk landing about 5 punches on Rico and getting the TKO, getting the referee stoppage. Now there's a lot. There's a lot going on with a lot of things with this fight in particular. I can't even get into I like I can't even find myself at a level head days removed to find the best way to even talk about this and do it justice. So I'm going to ask you, Ant, what do you think about the Rico versus Usyk fight?
I'm gonna be honest, bro. I'm in the same kind of lane as you are, dude. Like, I don't know where to approach this. Do I approach this from a journalist standpoint, or do I approach this from an analytical standpoint, or do I approach this from a fan standpoint? Because this, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this fight, man. It's one of those fights where you don't know where to start. Like, I really, dude, like Rico was just bullying the hell out of Usyk this whole fight. Out of 8 rounds, dude, like I don't think I've ever seen anybody bully Usyk the way Rico did, man. Like, golly, like that was insane. And then Usyk, to say he escaped with a win is honestly right. I mean, I can't you. I don't know. Really don't know where to start, man. I think he barely got out of there, dude. Like, I really doubted Verhoeven. I really did. I really doubted his ability. But man, like he really bullied the shit out of Usyk, and I feel like Usyk really wasn't taking him seriously either, though. But man, like what a weird main event, dude. And that stoppage, questionable, dude. I mean, like you said, it's very questionable. Um, yeah, very. It was a very odd fight.
I'll say this. I'll say this. I definitely think if the ref didn't step in, Usyk would have still dropped Verhoeven in the 12th round. I think I'm not sitting here saying Usyk would have won the fight. I'm saying at the very least he would have dropped Verhoeven for a second time. I
Yeah,
think he was toying with Verhoeven, and really he kind of realized like, oh, I think I've gone too far with this. I think it's time to get some punches in. And the second he started doing that, he started connecting.
Yeah,
So
and I think that's the thing too. Is that like I feel like I said, man, I feel like Usyk really wasn't taking Verhoeven seriously. I feel like he really wasn't taking that power seriously. And I think I said on the show that that's the one thing that like Usyk has to be cautious about, like the power of Verhoeven. I know he's more of a kickboxer, but still, man, like he can still you could be the greatest kickboxer in the world, but if you have hands, dude, you can still win the fight, even if you're the lineal kickboxing champion, man. Like you can still throw hands. Like, and it was man, what a
yeah,
weird
man,
fight.
I this is what went through my mind, right? Like Rico is dominating. I'm like, here we go. The lineal champion of boxing is about to be a kickboxer for the first time, if I'm not mistaken, right? The lineal championship is exclusive to boxing, which is unique because we have a record. We have somewhat of a record, I should say, of who has been the guy, right? The lineal championship is kind of the most prestigious thing you could do in boxing, right? Tyson Fury has achieved it, Usyk has achieved it, and many before from previous generations have also achieved it. If I'm not mistaken, Muhammad Ali was once the lineal champion as well. Um, Ultimately, here I am, Glory in Giza, once in a lifetime boxing event, and we see the kickboxer about to take it to the boxer. Usyk is the guy. There's no bigger guy to go for than Usyk right now. Okay, Benavidez is in contention with that conversation, but I don't think he's quite there yet. I think he'll easily surpass Usyk within his next 2 to 3 fights. But right now, Usyk's the guy, and we're watching a kickboxer who's only had one other professional boxing bout dominate him, and then Usyk drops him, and then the ref calls for the bell. What would have been worse, having the lineal champion lose to the kickboxing heavyweight champion, or having this big bout shrouded in corruption and, again, questionable officiating? Boxing and questionable officiating have gone together like peanut butter and jelly, unfortunately, for too long, right? We saw it a lot with Mayweather. We saw it a lot with even screwing over Pacquiao towards the end of his career. I mean, we've just see it's just ridiculous. Like it's boxing is in a point in time where you have people investing in it, but if you can't shake the common sentiment that boxing is corrupt, then you're not going to go anywhere. The sport's not going to evolve. So I think this was a very ugly finish. That's my negativity. It was a very ugly finish. I think I could see why the referee called for the bell. I mean, Rico gets knocked down and then he has to walk to his corner and then he has to get his mouth guard put back in, and then they're like, go fight, go finish the round. Obviously, do I think that Rico Verhoeven shaved off 10 to 15 seconds getting up from the knockdown? Yes, I do. And that's really what mitigates my concern with this finish. I do think Usyk was going to win in the 12th round. I know that's not a hot take right now. That's truly what I believe. I do think they screwed him over with the TKO, but I think there's more to it, right? I think like a lot of people are saying that the bell rung. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the bell shouldn't have rung at that point in time due to all the things that transpired when Rico got up from the takedown. There's a lot to this situation, and I do think the lineal championship is in question right now, which is the one belt you don't want to put in question. It's not even a belt. It's a metaphysical belt. There's no belt that says lineal championship on it. That's just the one that we know and understand as real boxing fans. But
Right. And
here's the takeaways, right?
uh,
I kind of laid it out all on the line there, was completely honest about what I thought. Bad finish, but would have had the same result even if it didn't go down. Usyk versus Rico needs to happen again. And I think we truly need to reevaluate what we want the end of Usyk's career to look like. I don't think he needs to face Caballero. I don't think he needs to face I think people are talking about him versus Daniel Dubois for a third time. I don't think that needs to happen.
No, of course not.
I think he does one more fight with Rico. I think Rico will beat him in a second fight. And I think it just comes down to age at this point. I think Rico has seen 10 plus rounds of Usyk. I think if they run it back as the next fight, Usyk versus Rico, wherever that is, I think Rico will win. I think Rico will be the first ever kickboxer lineal champion of boxing, which will be cool. And I think Rico's the guy to beat at the heavyweight division. I think we get Rico versus Caballero, Rico versus Daniel Dubois, Rico versus Anthony Joshua potentially down the line. I think Rico Verhoeven should stay in boxing. I mean, he's got what it takes, clearly. More money, right? More money. I don't know. I think Usyk fights Rico one more time and then fights Tyson Fury for the third time. I think Usyk will lose to Rico in the second fight. I think I'm not too upset about Usyk winning this fight against Rico. I think he was going to win anyways, and I know a lot of people don't share that sentiment, and that's okay. That's just where I'm at with it. But I think number one, Rico is here to stay, which is great. And number two, Usyk showed his first signs of desperation, of vulnerability. And I think that perfectly segues into his last fight with Tyson Fury. It'll probably be both of their last fight, Usyk
Yeah,
versus Fury 3. So
and here,
I think we kind of have a better idea of what the heavyweight lineal championship scene of boxing is going to look like going into 2027. And yeah, I'll let you continue, brother.
yeah, and here's the thing, dude. With this fight, here's the shitty part is the fight ends on a shitty finish on such a great card, though, dude. Like, there's so many good there's so many good fights on this card, and then yeah, like taking not letting Verhoeven go to the 12th was honestly ridiculous. You're like, obviously, we knew Usyk was gonna win, like, eventually, right? It was most likely gonna happen in the 12th round, like, but to do it like that, man, is pretty fucked up, man. Like, really, man,
They screwed
it's
themselves.
corruption at its finest, dude. I mean, like, even when we go back to all like them stripping titles and like doing like all this stupid shit, like this is just corruption at its finest, man. Like, it's ugly, ugly. It makes the sport look bad.
Yeah, man. This is what killed boxing. Like, guys, people stopped giving a shit about boxing when they saw the Mayweather train and how it was all bullshit. When they saw fights go the way they shouldn't, right? We're actually used to seeing fights go the way they shouldn't quite often, unfortunately. You don't do that with this fight. Okay? I understand you got a guy in kickboxing come in and beat the lineal champion, and he's not just a guy, he's the guy of kickboxing. When the guy of kickboxing comes in and beats the lineal champion of boxing, you let it happen. It sucks to watch. Don't get me wrong. It creates a lot of questions like why do these guys get paid so much? But you don't do that. You don't ruin what was an amazing event.
Yeah,
Because I
and Rico,
enjoyed that fight between Usyk and Rico. I thought it was entertaining to watch, but
it
man, like
was.
it's terrible. You hate to see it happen.
Yeah,
It's
it was. And the thing is that like I mean, dude, I don't think we've ever seen Usyk get bullied like how he did in this fight, man. Like, I keep saying, like, I think Rico's obviously. I think they're gonna do a rematch down the line, maybe in a couple months, maybe a year from now. And I think Rico's definitely gonna come in a lot more hungry, and he's definitely gonna try to like finish Usyk. I think this time. I'm
yeah,
convinced.
I think you Usyk versus Caballero, Usyk versus any up and coming heavyweight guy. We shouldn't be wanting that anymore because it looks like Usyk has one more fight with Rico, and that's kind of means everything to his legacy. And then we'll get his final fight against Tyson Fury because he's adamant about having that third fight with Fury. And both of those guys will probably retire after that fight. Yeah, man. Like you said, this is a great event, Glory and Giza. 5-fight main card, fun main event that's ruined by decision, but that's ruined by the thing that pushed fans away from boxing. um, which is bullshit finishes, which is corruption, right? But ultimately, yes, we see Alexander Usyk get the questionable TKO. In the co-main, we see Hamza Shiraz get the KO and become the WBO super middleweight champion, right? We see Jack Catterall get the WBA regular welterweight title. Um, and then we see Frank Sanchez drop Richard Torres Jr. in that IBF heavyweight final eliminator. Beautiful knockout. That's just the state of the art of the sport right there. Just boom. And then, of course, to open up this main card, we saw Mizuki Hiruta defend the ring and WBO Junior Bantamweight Championship successfully against Mai Solomon, who put up a great fight against Hiruta. This was a great way to open up the main card. You follow that up with a early knockout. Then you get Jack Catterall looking good, and then Hamza Shiraz stamping his, doing his thing in the co-main. So this was a fun event. The ending was a buzzkill by far. But it was a fun event nonetheless. I look forward to Usyk versus Rico too. That's not a fight that we can afford to miss out on. If we miss out on that fight, then that hurts boxing. I think we made a mistake. We screwed up with the finish of Glory and Giza's main event. But we have, fortunately, we have things in place to fix it, like giving Rico a rematch. And I think if Rico wins that rematch, I think he deserves to win it. I think there's a good chance he'll win it based off what we saw, based on the age of both fighters. And I think Rico is getting ready to make a name for himself in the world of boxing as the soon to be new linear champion.
Yeah, and the thing is, man, like it's bad when guys like Teddy Atlas, fucking Tom Aspinall, and all these different combat people from combat sports are saying that it was bullshit. Like this stoppage was bullshit. Even and looking at some this article here, they're saying that now we might be closer to the WBC is demanding that Caballero is next in line for Usyk, which, oof, that's gonna hurt this rematch's chances. That's gonna hurt the chances of there being a rematch between Rico and Usyk for sure if this fight between Caballero and Usyk happens.
They screwed up, man.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
screwed up. I know they wanted Usyk to go fight Caballero and then go fight Fury a third time. That Caballero fight's not going to happen. They're going to have to strip him with the WBC heavyweight title. But no worries, man. I think Usyk can defend the Ring Magazine, WBA, and IBF heavyweight titles. Is he still IBF heavyweight champ, Usyk?
Uh, Let me check. I believe he is.
I believe he is as well. Anywho, there are belts that Usyk can defend. That's what all I'm trying
He
to say.
vacated the IBF title in June, I think.
Oh, so then he's only got one left, and that's the WBA, right?
Yes,
Yeah, man, just ugly,
ugly.
right? You're having a beautiful event in the pyramids of Giza. Your boxing is looking fantastic. Even while Rico was beating up Usyk, you're like, okay, look, this is a fight that we would have never got. We're getting it now, and we're seeing a unique result that opens up a lot of questions that maybe would have encouraged a lot of kickboxers to try their hand at boxing. I don't know, man. Very interesting stuff here. Very interesting stuff. Um, it'll be interesting to see what's next for Alexander Usyk, to say the least. To see what's next for Rico Verhoeven, to say the least. We'll have to wait and see. Um, we got next weekend though. We have next weekend. We have three more fights, a little more than three in reality, but on the May matchups of the month, brought to us by Ring Magazine, we have three more fights listed here, all taking place on the 30th of May, which will be next Saturday. We have Dimitri Bivol defending the Ring WBA and IBF light heavyweight championship against Michael Eifert. That'll be an interesting tune-up fight for Dimitri Bivol. I imagine they want to do Bivol versus Benavidez right after this fight. We'll have to wait and see what happens. So we'll see. I think Dimitri Bivol has a solid chance of winning this fight. It's ultimately just a tune-up fight, like I said. Also taking place this upcoming Saturday will be the number 2 junior lightweight versus the number 6 junior lightweight as Oshaki Foster defends the WBC junior lightweight title against Raymond Ford. That'll definitely be a fun fight to watch. This is a fight
Oh
that I
yeah.
got excited for when it was announced. And I'll let you go ahead and sound off on that. Say anything you want about people before we get into MVP Women's 3, which rounds
Yeah.
out matchups of the month.
Yeah, I apologize. I was having some issues, of course, as always.
No worries.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, man, this Beagle fight is a tune-up fight. I mean, just like you said, this is. I mean, I'm not gonna take away anything from his opponent, of course not. But come on, it's Dimitri Beagle we're talking about, dude. Like, this is not. This is a very. This is gonna be a tune-up fight, man. This is, and then Oshaki Foster versus Raymond Ford. I mean, this is gonna be a fun scrap. This will definitely be. This could be fight of the year, honestly. This is one of those fights where we could be talking about it and be like, damn, like what a fight. Like we're gonna be this could be fight of the year. And Foster's one of the slickest defensive fighters in boxing right now, man. Just I think, in my opinion. And Ford, of course, brings his speed, his aggression, and of course the youth, man. So, and in my opinion, this fight definitely determines who becomes the face of 130 moving forward. So this is a lot is on the line here, not just the title. Just a lot of stuff is on the line. Mainly, who is the face of 130?
Yeah, man. This is a fight that you don't want to get under your radar here. You want to, there's a lot going on with boxing, with MMA. You want to
Right.
watch Foster versus Ford on Saturday, May 30th. Watch that on DAZN. It's not a pay per view, but you do need the regular DAZN subscription to have it to watch the fight.
Yeah.
And that the last fight to round out the May matchups of the month, once again brought to us by Ring Magazine, comes from MVP Women's 3. This is the third ever event of the Women's Boxing Initiative that MVP is formally putting before us as of very recently, making ESPN the fifth home of boxing, the undisputed home of women's boxing for sure, with their MVP deal there. Okay, and that fight there on the main matchups of the month is Amanda Serrano defending the Ring WBA and WBO featherweight championship against Cheyenne Hansen. This is on the matchups of the month for May, but it will not be the main event of this show. The main event of MVP Women's 3 is Stephanie Hahn versus Holly Holm 2, as Stephanie Hahn defends the WBA lightweight title against fight legend Holly Holm. Okay, and then we have two more main card fights here as Desley Robinson defends the IBF and WBO middleweight championship against Mary Spencer, and Lourdes Juarez defends the WBC junior flyweight title against Yocasta Valle. So we got four nice fights here in the realm of women's boxing taking place on MVP Women's 3, Saturday the 30th of May on ESPN. And yeah, man, women's boxing continues to do something men's boxing could never, and that's just continue to kick ass, continue to put together great fights, continue to showcase excellent women's boxing champions, giving unique younger women's fighters an opportunity. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and say any of these fights are top 5 fights, but you're getting 4 different champions of women's boxing showcased at a high level here, some at a higher level than others, but this is good stuff, man. I definitely think MVP Women's should be getting as much support as it possibly can, because this is a great opportunity for the women of boxing to do something that, again, the men would never. Anywho, is there anything you'd like to say about MVP Women's before we start previewing the big shows in June, Ant?
I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to Serrano versus Cheyenne. That's gonna be a really good fight. Obviously, Serrano's still carrying the women's boxing. Uh, I think I expect pressure, body work, and veteran control for this fight. And like you said, man, I think women's boxing is just kicking ass. I mean, it's a great time to be a fan of women's boxing because I mean, you have Serrano, you have Sky Nicholson, you have all these. You have Stephanie Hahn. Like it's a good time for women's boxing, man. Like they're really showing that they can kick more ass than the guys, which is honestly pretty cool, honestly. But yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a the this card's gonna be fun to watch, man. I can't wait. Think
Yeah,
I'm
man,
definitely looking
for
forward to
sure.
Han versus Home for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, you got a good co-main there and a good main event. Um, I'm very excited to see what happens with MVP Women's 3. And we're going to talk about MVP Women's 4 because we are about to get into our last segment of today's show, which is previewing the big shows to have your eyes on in June. Now, we don't have the June matchups of the month from Ring Magazine yet. That'll probably come in the next episode. But what we do know is we do know what to look forward to in terms of the world of boxing over the month of June. You got two big shows coming from DAZN Ultimate, but before we get there, you also have two big shows coming out of Zuffa Boxing, one show coming out of MVP Women's, and of course UFC Freedom 250. What we're going to do is we're going to go over each of these shows in order of when they will take place. Okay, so the first big show to look out for in the month of June will be Zuffa Boxing 7. Zuffa Boxing's first show outside of Las Vegas, outside of the United States. It will be in the United Kingdom, and they've got themselves quite the main event to sell this show across the pond. All right. Before we get to that main event, we'll see a middleweight bout to open up the main card: Stevie McKenna versus Casey Streeter. In the co-main, we'll see Jack Massey versus Chevron Clark in a cruiserweight bout. And then we'll see the number 3 cruiserweight take on the number 6 cruiserweight in the world, as Chris Balam Smith will take on Ryan Rozicki. As this looks to be an eliminator for the Zuffa Cruiserweight Championship, looks like the winner has a one-way ticket punched to a meeting in the ring with Jayo Pataya at some point. I know that Jayo Pataya has been in talks to fight David Benavidez, so we'll see when that fight takes place. But we do know that the winner of CBS and Ryan Rozicki is pretty much all but confirmed to fight Opataya for that Zuffa Cruiserweight title at some point. What are your thoughts here, man? Zuffa 7 putting together its second biggest fight, right? If Opataya versus Glanton was the first Zuffa big fight, then this is the second Zuffa big fight for sure. What are your thoughts on this, man? Are you excited to see it?
Oh hell yeah, man! This is definitely going to be a fun card in the UK. I expect pure anarchy in the UK, of course. Obviously, the main event's going to be incredible. It's going to be very violent. It's going to be very chaotic. Obviously, Rozicki always brings chaos. Chris Billon Smith is it's the same with him. Chev Clark, I've been watching some of his work before. I think he's definitely a guy we should be looking at. In my opinion, I think we should definitely be looking at him. He's done a lot of good stuff, and this is a very important fight for both Jack and Chev. So we'll see how that goes. I think there's some stakes there at cruiserweight, and then of course McKenna versus Strader. Man, that's gonna be a fun fight. Like it's gonna be very fan friendly. I think it's gonna be very another chaotic fight. This main card is gonna be fun, man. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun here. Yeah.
Yeah, man. This card looks impressive on paper, but we've also just come to trust that the matchmaking at Zuffa is going to give us some entertaining boxing. I understand Zuffa definitely lacks, ranked fighters, definitely lacks championship excitement, right? You got one champion in Jay Opataya over there. It lacks a lot of stuff right now, which is fair because they just started, right, in January. But what we have come to trust is that these fights are going to be hyper competitive. And I'm excited to see their second biggest fight take place in the UK. All right. The very next weekend, we have MVP Women's 4. The main event will see O'Shea Jones defend the IBF Super Welterweight title against Alaya Carranza. The co-main will see Tiara Brown defend the WBC Featherweight title against Hannah Rapp. And then the third fight announced so far is Evelyn Bermudez defending the WBA, WBO, and IBF Junior Flyweight Championship against Stephanie Alegria. Again, women's boxing continuing to kick ass, right? We don't really see a top 5 fight here, right? We see some dominant champions defending their belts, right? 3 big title fights. And it's good to see, a platform like MVP just put women's boxing on the map at this scale. It's just the beginning. It's really just the beginning. So, hell yeah, man. The first premium live event or not premium live event. The first DAZN Ultimate show that we're going to see in June is a bit of a UK celebrity fight between Tommy Fury and Eddie Hall. I'll be honest, I'm not very excited for this. Tommy Fury versus Eddie Hall. It's a celebrity fight. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Nonetheless, you need DAZN Ultimate to watch it, making it some semblance of a big fight, making it worth a presence on this list at some capacity. So there it is. I shouted it out. Celebrity fight. Not really into it. The
yeah.
next fight that will be on DAZN Ultimate for the month of June, I am very excited for. So let's just get to that. Before we get to that, on the 14th of June, we have the event. UFC has owned the fight world for well over a decade as boxing pushed itself to the wayside with its own politics, with its own bullshit. And really, what we're going to see in June of 2026 is a culmination of excellence. Now, I understand the UFC is not perfect. Okay. I understand that there are mistakes that happen with UFC, especially as of recent, in terms of ultimately just putting together less competitive main cards. I guess you have the luxury of doing so when you remove yourself from pay per view and make yourself available exclusively on streaming, which is a lot more feasible for the consumer. What I'm trying to get at here is I understand there have been better days for the UFC. I definitely understand that right now. But nonetheless, UFC Freedom 250 taking place on Sunday, June 14th, is a culmination of excellence. It's a culmination of innovation. It's a culmination of the best fighting the best. Something boxing attempts to do, UFC does with its eyes closed. Let's be real. So, UFC Freedom 250 has 7 fights on the main card, will be taking place at the White House, and seems to be a once in a lifetime event. I've already talked about being okay with it being more than a once in a lifetime event. I think UFC Freedom can be a once in a year event taking place closer to the 4th of July, right? Taking place in the White House. I think that's great. But if this is the only UFC Freedom show we get, UFC Freedom 250, then that's fine by me because this is a fantastic card. A lot of people have been giving this card shit. I never spent a second giving this card shit because I know this fight's going to be fantastic. You got Justin Gaethje taking on Ilia Tuporia in the main event for the undisputed UFC lightweight championship. You got champion versus interim champion there in that main event. And then you have Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane for the UFC interim heavyweight championship at the co-main. Sean O'Malley has a competitive fight against Ayman Zahabi. Josh Hokit taking on Derek Lewis. That's a ranked fight as well. Mauricio Ruffi taking on Michael Chandler. That's a ranked lightweight fight. The only not ranked fight is the second to first fight, Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins. And then the opening fight will be Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia. 7 fights. 6 of the 7 fights are ranked fights. 2 of the 7 fights are championship fights. And we just have a whole lot of likable names here on this card. You got Pereira, you got Gaethje, you got O'Malley. Josh Hokit is somebody that the fans have been loving recently, taking on Derek Lewis, who's a freaking legend, right? Michael Chandler versus Mauricio Ruffi. That's a fantastic fight.
Can't forget Taporia.
Can't forget. I said Taporia, didn't I? I
No,
didn't
I
say
did.
Taporia.
I don't think you said Taporia.
The list goes on and on. UFC Freedom 250 is a once in a lifetime event. It's a can't miss event if you're anything of a fight fan. I'm singing the praises of UFC, which is not something I always do. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm personally more of a boxing guy when it comes to art form, when it comes to sport. That's just me personally. But yeah, UFC Freedom 250, an event for the ages. I know we've been saying that for Glory and Giza. We've been saying that for other things. This is truly in its own lane, UFC Freedom 250. And I think the card is exciting. I'm excited to see what happens. What are your thoughts on UFC Freedom 250, Ant?
Man, normally I'm the one singing the UFC's praises, man. But man, hey, man, that's what's up. This card is just stacked from top to bottom, dude. Obviously, you know me, I'm a big Alex Pereira guy, so I'm looking forward to him. Hopefully, beating Cyril Gane. But I'll try to remain unbiased. as I possibly can. Obviously, Taporia versus Gaethje is going to be an absolute war. I think it's going to be chaos versus precision. That's how uh, one clean shot ends this fight instantly, in my opinion. Actually, that's not even an opinion. That's a fact. Um, yeah, man. Obviously, O'Malley's a fun guy to watch. So is the hobby. Rufy versus Chandler is going to be fun. I'm a big Mauricio Rufy guy. I think he's a fun kid to watch. Lewis versus Hoket's going to be fun too. It's going to be the battle of the characters almost. Obviously, Derek Lewis is pure entertainment, and Josh Hokett is obviously trying to do that as well, trying to become like a. I do like his gimmick. I do like he's kind of like an old school '80s wrestling heel, which is pretty sick. And then obviously Bo Nickel, Kyle Dawkins is another fight I'm looking forward to. This whole card is just stacked from top to bottom, dude. Like, golly, like I think, and you said it yourself, man. Like, this is one of those. It's one of those once in a lifetime things. I know we said it about Glory and Giza, and we also said it about a couple other events, but this is definitely one of those pay per views that we could honestly, it could be viewed like UFC 100, like UFC 300, like it could go in down. It could go down deep into MMA folklore almost. Like
I,
you
I
have.
think I think this will be bigger than UFC 200 and 300. Not that I dislike those events. I just think this is that damn big of an event with 7 main card fights. And I would say, if I'm being pessimistic, if I'm being negative, at least 5 of these 7 are fantastic, state of
I
the art.
I still think 100 is the greatest like UFC event ever, but that's just my opinion. I mean, I don't know though. I mean, obviously, well,
I,
229
I
is
would
up.
agree. I
Well,
would agree.
229 is up there as well, but that was mainly because it was spectacle. But and also the fight was actually pretty sick. Habib and Connor, of course. But going back to my point, like yeah, like this is one of those things where you had to be there. You had to watch it live. Like it's gonna go down, I think, in MMA folklore. I think this card.
Yeah, definitely, man. And if that's not enough for you, man, the very next weekend you got 2 A-list boxing shows. Maybe calling one of the 2 an A-list show is a stretch, right? Before we'll start with the A-list show, which is undoubtedly A-list, all right? With your DAZN Ultimate subscription, not only this month in the month of June will you get Tommy Fury versus Eddie Hall, but more importantly, you'll get the number 3 super welterweight taking on the number 5 super welterweight as Xander Zayas defends the WBA and WBL super welterweight championship against Jaron Boots Ennis. Zayas versus Boots. This is the type of fights we're talking about now. All right. This is what we want. Okay. This is similar to Oshaki Foster versus Raymond Ford. This is what boxing has been missing, and we're getting it. Boots versus Zayas. I'm very excited for this fight, man. This is a fight that can really go either way. I lean towards Boots, but man, I know not to sleep on Xander Zayas, who is
It's razor thin, dude. That's the thing. This is like how close this fight is. Like I don't know who I don't like. I've been saying like I always say on the show, I'm not a betting man, but I don't know who to pick for this fight either, man. Like because I've been following Xander Zayas since he was in Top Rank. Like I've seen his journey, and same with Boots. I've been following him as well. Like this is so close. Like there's so much on the line. Like this is a legit superstar making fight. Like this is gonna
yeah,
be a huge fight. It's huge clash, man. A lot of stakes on the line, of course. God, it's gonna be razor thin though, dude. I don't I,
yeah,
I don't count either man out, of course. But I'm gonna lean towards Xander, dude. I'm going Xander Zayas. But we'll have to see, man. I mean, it's gonna be close.
yeah, man. To be clear, this is taking place on June 27th, which will be a Saturday. And yeah, this is one of those fights, man. Don't let it fly under your radar. It's a little harder to let Zayas versus Boots fly under your radar. It's a little easier to let Oshaki Foster versus Raymond Ford fly under your radar. Neither of them should fly under your radar. In a world full of this fight versus that fight, those are 2 fights that are utmost exciting coming up to you very soon. Um, 24 hours after Zayas versus Boots, we'll actually get Zuffa Boxing 8. We got 2 Zuffa shows in the month of June, which is cool. This Zuffa 8 show will return to Vegas, will not be at the Apex, but will be in Las Vegas. The main event will see Jose Valenzuela take on Edwin De Los Santos for a second time. This is a good opportunity for Jose Valenzuela. This is a good opportunity for El Rayo to get one of his wins back, right? The first fight between Valenzuela and De Los Santos was a freaking scrapper. They both of these guys were so freaking young when they first fought, and this was an absolute scrapper. I'm excited to see the rematch here in the main event of Zuffa 8. We're also going to see two other stars that have been intriguing in Zuffa's young history. In the co-main, we will see Omar Trinidad attempt to make a name for himself in the featherweight division against Jerwin Acajas. I hope I said that right. Ancajas or Ancajas. All right. And then in the opening bout, we will see Kane Sandoval, a guy that lost to Julian Rodriguez in the first ever Zuffa main card fight, taking on Brandon Lee. So you got somebody coming off a loss and then somebody coming off a dominant prelim win on the undercard for Valenzuela versus De Los Santos 2. Zuffa 7, first show in the UK, second biggest fight in Zuffa history. And then Zuffa 8 has got a rematch between De Los Santos and Valenzuela, as well as some other interesting athletes fighting on the main card here. Very exciting stuff here. What are your thoughts on Zuffa 8 and Zuffa in general, I guess, to close us out?
Definitely another fun show from Zuffa, man. This is gonna. I guess I'll kind of work my way down. I'll go. Actually, I'll work my way up. I'll go first fight, and then we'll go main event. So Sandoval versus Brandon Lee. This is obviously Sandoval's a very violent pressure fighter. 17-1, 15 knockouts. He's gonna. My only concern with him is he can be hit clean, and his defensive structure is still inconsistent. So that's where I think he might struggle a little bit is defense, and especially fighting against a guy like Brandon Lee, obviously undefeated, 23 KOs. Like his hands are extremely fast. Those combos are sharp. So this is going to be one of those fights where Sandoval has to play it smart. He cannot walk into the counters, man. And Omar and on Cajas, this is gonna be a fun fight too. Obviously, Omar is one of the hottest rising Mexican American featherweights right now, 20-0. He's got that Mexican warrior spirit, man. He's very aggressive. He's strong. He's excellent pressure, and he improves every single fight. And obviously, his opponent is definitely one of the biggest name opponents in his career. So, of course, Anajas is a former IBF super flyweight champion, extremely experienced, and of course, his wins have come over guys like Javier Martinez, Miguel Gonzalez, and Jonas Sultan. So we'll see how this goes. I mean, if I'm Trinidad, I push the pace really quick and attack the body really early, and do not let Anca, man, I can't say his name right, Ancajas settle into rhythm. And as for Kanajas, got to slow the fight down, use timing and experience, and got to counter Trinidad's pressure. And finally, main event. Oh man, this is like you said, man. Fun scrap between De Los Santos and Valenzuela. This is obviously De Los Santos is going to be very dangerous. He's going to try to use his southpaw, and he's going to try to use his ridiculous counter punches. Um, he did. You know what's funny about Edwin, dude? He really gave Shakur Stevenson a competitive, low output fight. It's crazy, isn't it? Like he really took Shakur to the limit, and it's gonna be interesting if he does the same with Valenzuela. So obviously Valenzuela is one of the most entertaining fighters in boxing right now. He's very tall, southpaw with explosive combinations, and I mean we'll have to just see what happens, man. I mean obviously he did beat Pitbull Cruz for that WBA title, so and obviously that upset loss to De Los Santos. So let's see if he's gonna be able to rebuild himself. But yeah, this is gonna be a fun scrap, man. I can't wait for this whole card.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And this is a bit crazy to say, but I think by the time it's all said and done, by the time Zuffa 8 is all said and done, I think there will be unfinished business still between Valenzuela and De Los Santos. I could see this needing a third fight, even if De Los Santos wins a second time. Their first fight was so back and forth, Valenzuela getting shots, De Los Santos getting shots. It really feels like if the finish didn't happen in their first fight, that it could have went either way. I could see this fight being the exact same way, meaning way too early. I prematurely hope for a third fight between these guys. But we'll see what happens, man. Um, yeah, we've previewed June, man. June doesn't have as much in terms of content and competitive value as May, but it still has everything you need.
Of
It
course.
had two Zuffa fights, a
Yeah.
showing from MVP Women's, right? UFC Freedom 250, and then you got Boots versus Zayas. It's got everything you could ever want from the month of combat sports, from a month of combat sports. We were
Oh
just
yeah.
spoiled freaking rotten in May.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I think June is honestly gonna be a good month. I think. We may not have gotten every like all the crazy stuff we got this month, but I think June is definitely gonna be it's gonna be a fun month, man. Obviously, I'm excited for these two Zuffa cards. Obviously, you know me, I'm a big UFC guy, so looking forward to UFC 250, Freedom 250. Yeah, man. I think this is. I think it's actually. I think we are, like you said, we're very spoiled for combat sports. Like no matter what, if you're a boxing fan or an MMA fan, and like I always say, what a time to be alive for combat sports.
Yeah, man. It's like this is the new norm, and we just got to get used to running this marathon here. We'll be back though in a week. We'll be back
Oh,
next weekend. We will preview the June matchups of the month brought to us by Ring Magazine, and then we'll go ahead and analyze what we saw from the 30th of May, right? The Dimitri Bivol versus Michael Eifert fight, Oshaki Foster versus Raymond Ford, which I'm most excited for, and then of course MVP Women's 4, which we'll see Amanda Serrano in the building. Um, yeah, man, we're
man.
spoiled rotten. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Boxing fans, MMA fans, fight fans, always remember that it's a marathon, not a sprint. We're blessed to be in this new era. The more things look different, the more things look the same. But I will say, it does seem to be there does seem to be adequate justification that we are entering a second or third golden age of boxing. And the UFC, while it may not always be at its peak, is going to continue to give us entertaining content to enjoy.
Yeah, man. I think that's gonna be fun, man. That's the fun thing about it. I mean, for as much critiques as we get boxing, I mean, especially like how we did early in the show, we criticized the governing bodies, of course. I mean, it's still. I mean, we still love this sport, don't we? I mean, this is what we live for, and I think MMA is in a good spot. I think boxing is in a interesting spot to say the least. But I mean, that's the beauty of it, right? I mean, we can critique one thing and then we can be excited for another. So I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
yeah,
for sure. I mean, I do think the ending of Gloria and Giza was a step back, a step in the wrong direction. But I think we have enough stuff coming in the pipeline to continue to be excited about boxing and continue to watch and continue to see all the great things unfold. But that's all I got for us, man. If you good to go, then go ahead and sign us out, brother.
all right, brother. All righty, people. So, real quick, just want to give a shout out to the host right here, the host with the most, my homeboy, my dog, Mr. Matt, aka Wrestling is Bullshit. I want to give a shout out to my family, my friends, San Antonio, Go Spurs Go. Rest in peace to the OG big dog, Mr. Carlos Carrasco. Um, yeah, my name is Anthony Moreno, aka Ant, aka Lights Out, aka Boxing's Bullshit, aka whatever. This has been the Lights Out podcast, and we will see you guys in about a week. So we are officially out of here, guys. Boom! Woo! Let's go!